Good morning. Afternoon? Evening? What the fuck is it? So, I guess we're back to Nier. And it looks like it's working particularly well right now. So that's good. Hopefully it continues to work well. No? Why does my mouse keep jumping into the middle of the screen? It was just fine a second ago. Okay. So again, I'm chilling out at home today. Tomorrow I am going to be doing all kinds of other shit. Hard working shit. So I'm just gonna take it easy today. Just fuck it. I don't care. I can race him. When is also, good morning. When is Infinity War coming out? Also, why are my chips not embedded? I would love to go see Infinity War just to get a final conclusion to the whole story. I've been following the Marvel franchise universe thing since the beginning, and I've continued to follow them all the way through. I've seen every movie. I was disappointed with not too many of them, because I remember that they are comic book movies. I think that's the best way to go about watching these things. Is to remember that they're just movies made by Hollywood. But no, I'm excited. People have been shitting on Thanos the entire time, and that's par for the course, I guess. When do people ever stop complaining about anything? 2 hours and 40 minutes long? I wouldn't be surprised if they broke it down to something way shorter than that. But yeah, apparently we've made some new friends in Ottawa, and we might go see the movie with them because they're also fans, per se. There's a possibility that me and Siggy will actually take the effort to do a small podcast on like the movies after they're done, because Siggy's been just say having a lot of things to say about the movie franchises recently. She's very tired of movies, and I want to fight her on it. Not a real fight, of course, because I would win. My punching power is far superior than the 90-pound girl. Who's got my mission? But yeah, I want to see it end. I want to see what they do. Tony Stark, what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. is pretty much done. He's like, I can't do any more of these movies. Which probably means that they will go full progressive and introduce the new Black Girl's Superman. Is it Black Girl? No, the new Black Girl Iron Man, and they'll include a bunch of other garbage that people don't want, and the franchises will slowly die out. But alternatively, they won't, because they are Disney, not Marvel now, and Disney literally runs everything. I don't know. Disney knows how to make a decent product to appeal to a large, broader audience. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Marvel franchises kept going, even with more and more social justice being shoved into everything. I haven't seen Black Panther. Actually, that's the only one I have yet to see, and Siggy's been really wanting me to watch it. And I think me and her will just start doing movie reviews as well, because why not? Let's just go full just fully on about all this stuff. I like the idea, personally, of doing movie reviews. I talk about movies and music all the time. And I can't be fucked too bothered at all to make actual content, actual videos, as you guys can tell. Which I'm kind of sorry about. But then I can only do so much for so much, if you know what I mean. Is this maxed out? No gold, just other stuff. Okay. Let's go upgrade some chips. Okay, so he is just an incapable bastard who can't raise my weapon level any higher. Put a gun on it, man. Put a gun on it. I want my swords to shoot fucking shotgun rounds. Okay, and I still have 50 left. You know what I should do? I should go visit that stupid little town of robots. Maybe they'll sell me their weapons. Look, from what I understand, a lot of people are already jumping on the Black Panther situation. Just because he's a black superhero and black people wanted a superhero to identify with, or social justice warriors, or whoever the hell wanted. I actually really like it. I'm slowly moving my way up through it. I guess that's pod upgrading. Ooh, there's I can buy upgrades, I guess. Spears. Like, what are spears? The shape of deadly spears. Summon a massive energy that unleashes a devastating blow upon targets. That sounds like something nice. Like, what do I have right now? Fires a powerful laser in the direction of the pod is facing. Great. Analyze the enemy and fix the radius, allowing combatants to deliver a series of deadly slashes to all who caught. What? No, I guess I have to buy these to figure out whether they work or not. Summon a massive energy. I don't know. I don't know how these energy things work. Oh, look, more storage. Increase plug-in chip capacity. Yeah, let's do that. Why upgrade them when I can just upgrade everything else around it? There we go. I should have been doing this a while ago. I like this game. I do. Specifically because I don't know. I can't tell you what I like about it. I can tell you that. No, I can. I can absolutely tell you what I like about it. I like the automatic support defense attack systems. Okay, I can still unlock a bunch more stuff, so I can run around. Defense focused, attack focused. Wait, what? You've been watching this game though, right? What do you think about it? I customized my chips to adjust my strength levels. So there's chipsets. I can upgrade my storage capacity 4 chips. As you see, I almost nearly maxed it out there. I don't know how much stronger I will be, but here's the thing that's actually weirdly throwing me off. When I die, I have to go back and collect my body to get my chipset back, but not my weapons. And wait, before I get too far into this game, this game is fine. I do like it. It reminds me of Dark Souls, just a little bit faster. Clearly no permadeath and no loss of anything upon death, but at the very least, it still tries to be engaging enough for me to want to run around and kill as much stuff as possible. I'm still trying to find the story. That's my point here. I'm not sure where my story lies. See, there's like a mission here, the city ruin cave, and then what is this? Like, it's advancing, I guess. The scenery started off slow and simple, and then slowly just gets worse and worse and more intense. And I keep killing things. It's pretty good. My sword attacks are getting better. I'm personally getting better at this game. That's the thing I like. Is that... Okay, am I done? Oh, okay, so I am done now. No, it's still showing me that I have a mission here. Question is, what is this mission? Maybe I'm just supposed to transport myself to the bunker. And I do want to do an honest review, review of Black Panther. I don't want to give it a bad rep just because people are having issues with social justice. Because I fucking know that everyone's got a goddamn problem with social justice. And
that concludes our report on the events surrounding the alien wreckage. Then they were dead this whole time.
The Council of Humanity needs time to formulate a plan. Until then, this information must be kept confidential. Speak of it to no one.
Of course.
Your next mission
she's
is
yelling
to gather
about confidential mission
additional
and mission
intel on the
headquarters.
individual known as Pascal.
You mean that freaky machine we ran into?
This order comes directly from the Council. Knowledge of such unique individuals is essential for the success of future missions.
Understood.
Alright, that was... That was interesting. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want to give it a bad rep just because it's a black superhero, and then everyone's supposed to fucking lose their shit in the politosphere about the fact that there's a black superhero. Never had a problem with Black Panther before, outside of him being a Black Panther. It's. I understand that he was still created by two Jewish guys in New York, as most things.
Man,
and if black people want to worship a hero created by two Jewish white men in New York, then they can absolutely do it. Who the fuck am I to tell them what to do?
Why don't we rest a little bit, 2B? It's been a while.
I'll rest if I feel like it.
Right, guys? Right? They have killed and brought back many people over the course of the, I think. Or am I thinking of something else? I'm thinking generally in movies, they just bring people back. All the time. Like, what are they gonna do now? If they kill Bruce Banner, they're just gonna give him a child or something and make him, or they'll just replace the Hulk with She-Hulk, guys. There's already a She-Hulk. What else? Is there? There's no Mrs. Captain America. There's definitely a Spider-Woman, and like a bunch of other things. And if you follow the comic books, then Peter Parker has a kid who's also born with spider powers, who's a girl. Mary Jane goes on a sociopathic fucking situation where she becomes Bloody Mary and starts murdering people. No period jokes there, guys. No period jokes there at all. Am I done here? Should I rest? Where's my room? Where's my room? This is S9. I think that's his room. Why am I sleeping in his bed? That's just weird. Why is it asking me if I want to save and continue the game? The guy suggested that we rest. Now we rested, and he's like, oh, whatever. Whatever, I don't care. Let's keep going. Only if Disney successfully buys up the DC franchise. Well, no, they already said they're gonna do the. They were talking about the Birds of Prey, and the Birds of Prey is all the fucking Gotham girls together. And they're already doing it. Like, I don't care. I literally don't care. If they want to, they can. Who the fuck am I to tell them not to make a goddamn show or a movie about some shit? It's either gonna succeed or it's gonna fail. And I'm hoping things don't fail just because they're feminine. Like, here's like the problem here. That bridge collapse that killed a bunch of people, and a lot of people weren't concerned about the people who died. They were more concerned about the fact that a female-only business actually was the one who was responsible of the bridge's maintenance. And I don't want to point to women and say they're incapable, inept idiots, because they're not. I know plenty of women that are completely capable and are not inept at all. I know a lot that are. Thought Enforcer. Hello, Thought Enforcer. How are you? What are you here to do? Enforce thought? Do you have a thought that's worth enforcing? Or are you just memeing without knowing what you're memeing about? No, I guess I'll have to wait for that response. So, I don't want to fall into the same trap that a lot of other people are falling into, or will be falling into, of just continuously going fuck women. Because again, that's the whole point. That's the whole Marxist ideal. Is to just make people and everyone feel oppressed all the time. It's gonna make women feel oppressed, and it's gonna make other people feel like they're unjustly being treated because women are getting better. I don't know, the better deal. And yeah, I absolutely have called out many different people on like women-only gyms, and I ask, what do you mean women-only gyms? How does that even work? I thought the whole point was no sexism, but then women-only gyms is directly gender preference. It's gender preference. It's gender preference. But I don't know. I'm gonna try not to be outraged continuously by every goddamn thing. Maybe maintain some level of. What do I call it? Stableness, stability, some level of stability within my my own ideologies, mentality, attitude. I gotta go back to meditating. That's what I honestly gotta go back to doing. Just center myself. So yeah, I'm slowly upgrading a large portion of our arsenal, which is fun. I seem to be doing a lot more damage, which is also good. Because I think that was the point. And let's see if I can start winning boss battles, I guess. Winning fights against stronger things without needing to spend like 1,000,000 regenerative points, regenerative potions. Like, I have a question though. Is it a problem if feminists like something, or is it only a problem if like feminists are allowed to have their own magazines, right? We all believe in free speech and shit. And I think feminists are allowed to have their own publications and their own information and their own databases, their own clubs. The problem here is not giving other people the ability to do the same thing. It's if you want a men-only club, they go, well, fuck that, that's bullshit. I'm like, okay, but you want your female-only club, and you should absolutely respect other people's intentions. And intentions on how, not just clubs, but like how they want to run their businesses. I'm here, I need to go here. But nobody's happy with that. Like, I'm okay with Marvel trying to do something new. What is toxic masculinity? Toxic masculinity is... Well, look, it's not a question I want to define. What, you've never heard the term until now? For a feminist, toxic masculinity is one thing. For other people, it's another. But basically, the feminists think that masculinity is toxic because it encourages a lot of aggression. It encourages a lot of competition. It encourages a lot of fighting. Just all that bullshit that they don't want to. They do want to partake in. Don't get me wrong. They absolutely want to partake in. This is the whole point of this entire endeavor, is that they want to pretend like they're weak, fragile women while claiming they're not weak, fragile women. So when they say, oh, all this toxic masculinity is retarded and we need to get rid of it, so they can decrease the level of competition to make it easier for them to compete in the sphere of business and sports. The problem is that the masculinity is only toxic to those who participate in it to a certain degree. I don't know if like toxic masculinity. Let's say football. The feminists have been talking about football being a sport of pure and utter toxic masculinity because it is just a bunch of guys smashing and fucking trying to rip each other apart, kicking balls, throwing them, and just expressing that animalistic level of aggression. And feminists have a really big problem with it. They started coming up with all kinds of different reasons of why we should get rid of it. This has been going on for a lot of years. Most people might realize it, might not, but it's been going on for a while. They've been presenting that football should be gotten out of schools because too many kids get hurt. They've been trying to push it out of the mainstream. They've been trying to get. They even go on about how. I talked about this the other day. The cheerleader issue. Remember the cheerleader issue I was talking about? I was saying that the feminists went after the NFL's cheerleaders and claimed that they were oppressed little princesses who deserved better in life than to be... At first, they deserved better than to just be cheerleaders, cheering and dancing around in miniskirts for giant burly men who want to beat the fuck out of each other. And they got their way to a certain degree, right? Look what's happening right now in today's society when cheerleaders, they don't want cheerleaders. They want female football players now. And female football players are going to suck and, well, maybe not suck. Maybe there are some pretty big-ass dykes who absolutely want to play football. And I use dyke as descriptive, not derogatory. Just so we have a full understanding of that concept. But yeah, so they're going to chip away at everything that football does and keep claiming that it's toxic, it's dangerous, it's inappropriate, it shouldn't be done in schools, it shouldn't be showed on television, it shouldn't be promoted as a national sport. And they're going to keep tearing apart and where the fuck am I going? And just deconstructing everything football is. Until they finally get their way. And football becomes not a thing anymore. Like I said, it's kind of happening now. Where is this? Where that is. And they're doing the same thing with everything. Why they keep going on about how video games are toxic and they have toxic masculinity, because all you're doing is being a super macho guy running around saving the woman, the damsel in distress, but only expressing full what do you call it? Just expressing it through aggressive tendencies. They'll go on about how, which means that video games just teach children to be aggressive and don't have any real life lessons. What we should do is make gaming more inclusive. They absolutely love it. More female doing more women doing toxic femininity. I've seen the term thrown around. Actually, it's not a new term. The toxic femininity or whatever. It's but I prefer to just call it pussification. The pussification of everything. Football can no longer be played with contact. Football now needs to be played with a little flaggy attached to your butt, so grown men have to run around trying to grab each other's butts. That's their version of football that they want everyone playing. Shit, what was I talking about? Oh, the UFC. Do you remember when Ronda Rousey was asked about feminism? And whether she believes that women in UFC need to be paid as much as the men in UFC? And she kind of laughed at the feminists and said, "What are you, fucking retarded?" She's like, what are you fucking retarded? Clearly, I may be a woman, I may be fighting, I may be good looking, but like, I don't have nearly as big of a draw as, let's say, one of the other major contenders. Still, not as many people come to see me fight as they do to see the bigger regular UFC fighters. Because she even said, I probably that she couldn't, most likely she can't take on a guy UFC fighter. She doesn't have the body weight to even do it. And she's like, why would I get paid if I have less of a draw? It was just, I've had a full, like, fledged fight with a few people about the situation. He goes, why don't female basketball players get paid as much as male basketball players? And I pointed out, I'm like, that's just, well, what is that? It's equality of outcome? What even is that? You want people who don't have as much of a draw, who aren't as good, to get paid as much as people who actually are good, to what? To devalue the labor of the people who are good, or to increase the what do you want? You can't change how good they are, which is weird enough in itself, right? Because like they're always talking about how we need to change men to be more like women, but you can't change women to be more like men unless you literally pump them full of steroids and go on the full regiment of whatever. This is the difficult part of all of this, is that everyone wants to sit there and complain about everything, but like there needs to be solutions, not just retarded notions. Like these are not real solutions. They can't even be solutions because they don't solve anything. All they do is introduce financial incentive for people to suck at things. And basically generate unions. I think unions is the one thing they like to do. And because, as I've said before in many of my streams, in many of my places, unions take away the individual's right to bargain for his labor. I work better than some people. I should get paid more than some people. Some people really suck at their goddamn job. I don't think they should get paid as much as me just because they've worked the job as long as me. These are simple concepts, and unions take that away. I have to fight this entire situation every goddamn day of me being in construction. Little retards that don't want to do any goddamn work are getting paid as much as me, or more than me, because I have just not been working there as long as they have. As a previous business owner, I understand the concept of, like, if your labor is shit and you don't want to do the work, why would I want to pay you? So this is also putting a strain on regular businesses as well. Who? God, what am I doing?
Engaging. Pod, analyze the enemy.
Sorry, all of a sudden there's many things attacking me. Ooh, this one's tough. Why is he invulnerable? Is he invulnerable too? Ah. And they're just gonna keep at it, right? It's the whole notion of what the left wants to do. Okay, not the left. I don't like using the dichotomy, the false dichotomy of left versus right. Ooh, shit. Shit. Dodge. What just happened? Because it's not the left necessarily. There's the reason I don't like the dichotomy. Like I said, I come from a very conspiratorial place on my notions. Shit. And I don't believe that it's literally every single person who considers themselves a leftist is actually out there trying to devalue everything society is. I think people are just dumb and they don't know what's happening. Nor will they know what's happening because they never bothered to actually figure it out. And that's not to say that people can't learn. They just don't want to either. This is the majority of the problems that I have with people. Okay. I need to back the fuck away. There's too many people that want to watch the world burn, and I talk to them quite a bit. They keep going on about how unhappy they are with everything, and their solution is to destroy everything. That goes for the libertarians, the leftists, that goes with a lot of people who are genuinely unhappy with the way things are. But like I said, the problem has always been the same. It's people, since they don't know what to do, they just get frustrated. And they almost want to throw a tantrum. Which is the responsibility, to a certain degree, of the leftist. Not the leftist, but I'm going to go with leftist. I'm going to say it. But more accurately, of the school systems. The daycare generation, the children that have been told their entire lives that they're perfect just the way they are, and nothing they ever do will ever fucking is ever wrong. And that's the way they think. They think that everything they're doing is right and will always be right, and they'll never have to change or think about their actions because it's everyone else that's the problem. And then what they do is they bring you into higher levels of education and tell you to learn critical thinking. Where the fuck did it go? I leave the mission area? It's... Look, you can call it the left. There's a reason I call it the false dichotomy. Because you can say it's the left, you can say it's the right. I don't think it's either one of them. I don't think it's specifically the left or the right. I think there's a bigger problem brewing that most of us don't acknowledge and will not acknowledge. And some of us will. We like, too many people know that, like, okay. I've talked about controlled opposition many times. We know that there's a whole issue with the problem solution reactionary people, the people that see a problem and automatically think that they can figure out what the situation is going to be, or they can figure out what the solution is all the time. I mostly found it, like I said, being a lot more on the left in the beginning. I'm clearly... outmatched here completely by both of these things. The problem is, like, I was supposed to almost unthinkingly support the Occupy Wall Street movement, which doesn't make any sense to me. I've asked people before, why are they protesting? Why are they at Wall Street? Why are people all over the world sitting around and protesting business? Mostly people that don't have jobs. I'm sorry, but most of the people I know that went there did not have jobs, because that's why you sit out on the street panhandling and talking about change all you want. But to have like no real. Well, if you think I'm outwitted, that's fine too. But I'm definitely outgunned and outclassed, because god damn. Okay, I'm gonna retreat, because this is ridiculous. I think there's a point to this mission here that I have not achieved yet. The question was, why are they protesting Wall Street when the thing that they're unhappy with is the government? Right? They're unhappy about the government regulation. They can be unhappy with the business all they want. The business can only do as much as the government will let them. And considering the government is the thing that's letting them do it, I don't understand why they're protesting literal business. And it's really strange, because even Obama came out and told everybody that he supports the Occupy Wall Street movement. Now, the literal government is supporting an anti-corporate and anti-corporation movement. Just a giant movement that's against businesses. Now, the people who suffered the most out of that entire situation was actually the local businesses that had to sit through it and watch hundreds of homeless people clog up their bathrooms and just take up space and leave trash everywhere. Wall Street didn't fucking change. Wall Street didn't do anything, because the only way Wall Street is going to change is if literally government regulation gets changed. And a lot of the government regulations that are put into place for Wall Street are already put in by people from Wall Street in the government. You know, like they talk about how it's almost corporatism, almost corporate feudalism at this point, where the same people who work for the government are the same people that work for Wall Street or for most business interests. In fact, you need business interests to actually ally with you to run for, let's say, president of the United States of America. Now, for a president of the United States of America to literally say, "Oh, I agree with this anti-corporate notion," is kind of dumb, but also shows how much they're willing to appease this new generation of voters and make them think that they're on their side, without pointing out for a second that Obama did nothing his entire term to actually fix the problems that they had with the issue. And a lot of the issues that they did have were actually because of the Democrats, because of shitty fucking business practices and government programs to help poor people get housing to a certain degree, but implemented so goddamn badly that, yeah, people took advantage of it. Good for them. No, I know, investment bankers, right? Who would think that people with the money to invest into more businesses would be good people to have around you? So look, Obama can keep going on about how he supports Occupy Wall Street, but that just proves that he is inherently a communist who doesn't support businesses. Or at least he does in the false ideological spectrum that he wants himself presented in. Because he's absolutely a businessman. Every single person around him is a businessman. None of these people, maybe they're just trying to crush certain businesses?
Huh. That's new.
Enemy detected. Go. Show no mercy. Glory to machine line force.
Engaging. Pod, analyze the enemy.
Am I not analyzing the enemy properly? What's happening there? look, the point is that the media wasn't pointing out the fact that these people were protesting the wrong place. The government wasn't pointing it out. People like me were pointing it out. And I was being called a monster and an uncaring, unfeeling monster because I kept saying that they're literally doing this like half-assed and backwards. How do I analyze things? Do I just not have the analyze skill? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna go back and see if I need the analyze skill or something to complete this mission because this is retarded. And you go on and you try to talk to the leftists about how, hey fuckwad, how's it going? And you try to talk to them. You try and explain to them that, okay, have you ever had this conversation with people where you're like, okay, so I want to, like, okay, I don't even know how to start these conversations because I generally don't start them. People tell me that we need to rely less on cars. And I don't understand what the fuck they're talking about. And I ask them, why do we need to rely more on, or less on cars? What is it about cars that you have a problem with? And they say they encourage frivolous, needless spending. We live in a society of waste and abundance, and the rest of the world is suffering. And, like, that is so fucking loaded and so full of garbage that I don't even know where to start. But this is what they've been taught in school. This is the projects they underwent. These are the everything. They're just the everything that was forced into them. From the media, from the schools, from their own bleeding hearts mentality, which is fine. I understand that there's people suffering in the goddamn world. But again, I keep pointing out that the majority of their suffering is coming from their own governments. Not my government, not me, not white people, their own governments. The fucking Kenyan government is more responsible for the mass murders and suffering of Kenyan people than white people will ever be. Because black people are running fucking Kenya. Or at least I hope they are. I don't. I fucking might not be at all. I might be wrong completely. But the leftists seem to have a problem with corporations and spending and anything that's non-inclusive, which I think is a new thing. Because again, I was taught in school that globalism is the worst thing you could have, the worst thing you could do, because that would mean that corporations can run freely amok amongst every nation in the world if every world joins the new world order. And for some reason, from my generation, I'm 32, in schools, when we were trying to fight globalism, the new generation of today, 10 years later, I guess, is now trying to introduce globalism and is now trying to inherit it. And this is why I call them puppets. As Yuri Bezmenov pointed out, these are useful idiots who actually have no clue what they're doing or why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and how they're being used. So thoroughly used to literally create the oppressive regime that they fear themselves. Again, I was born in communist Russia, and I don't want that. My parents fled from it. Hundreds of millions of dead people. Millions of dead people at the hands of their own tyrannical government because they would not comply. What is that what the left wants? They keep going on about unity and harmony, but their only goal at the end of their unity and harmony is literal mass murder until everybody agrees? Are we... Increase enemy drop rates. Increase evade distance by 10%. I didn't even know those are things, but excellent. Okay. Let's fuse by. I don't see. I do not see a scanner. And it's really hard for me to sit there and watch them destroy and eat themselves because they're incapable of. I'm sorry. I need to put this as delicately as possible. So I'm just gonna hold on for a second. A bunch of people already pointed out that people that have a lefty socialist type of mentality are people that are incredibly high in agreeability. People that need everyone to agree and want to agree with everyone. It is really easy to agree with everyone all the time. If all of you are saying things like no more oppression, freedom for everybody, unity, conformity, love, love, love. Just because you keep repeating the words love, but shooting a gun at this at an individual doesn't mean that you actually love them. The problem here is that they don't understand that it's easy to agree with no hatred, but that hatred is necessary when you want to conserve order. I can hate people that murder children. In fact, it is only ideally beneficial to hate people that murder children. The hatred is necessary. If I hate communism because 100 million people died at the hands of communist leaders, not once, not twice, but almost always, whenever communism comes about, it starts with a revolution, and then is followed up by millions of people being murdered. Communism doesn't work because it's always collapsed and has always fallen apart because you can't have people who... you just can't have people working for the benefit of others all the time. And I'm going to put this as delicately as possible. The majority of the people propagating the leftist ideals and leftist ideologies are not currently working. They're currently benefiting off of the labor of others to turn other people into just as much of a mindless drones to continue to support their own life and to continue to support their own workless environments. Yuri Bezmenov talked about this. How these people think that they're going to become leaders and politicians and important figures in the new world order that they're trying to create. But they end up being the first people murdered after the rebellion is concluded. These people will always be the first to fucking die because they're the useful idiots. They were useful in creating the utopia, the notions of utopia. They were useful in converting other people. They were useful in even causing the revolution itself and leading through it. They might even be convinced to fight against other people. But at the end of the day, what is the one thing that communism and socialism doesn't want? Useless eaters. The communism has a simple notion within it that most of these people have forgotten about. It is the basic idea that if you do not work, you do not eat. And they will always forget about that one notion. So now when we say you do not work, you do not eat, they say you're a horrible monster. And once you point out that communism functions on that exact same premise, you do not work, therefore you do not eat. It is not communism. It is not equality. It is now a dreamland. A dream utopian society that most of these people are starting to convert to. The more people I've been talking to, the more they're saying shit like, well, one day we will have robots build everything. And when robots are building it, we do not need labor. And if we do not need labor, then we will have an entire society of people who want to do the things they actually want to do. The problem is that we have a society right now where the majority of people don't want to do anything at all. When you train an entire society to only know how to do one thing, and that is complain and bitch, then they'll grow up complaining and bitching about the exact same things they were complaining and bitching before. Right now, they're saying my job is too hard, or I don't have work. How many people have said, I don't have a job, I don't have any work? And then when you ask them if they've been looking for a job, they say no because they've given up on looking for one. It's all about the complaining and not anything about the actual problems, the actual solutions, or anything logical. They've given up. They're done. They have no more drive in life other than to literally to reap the benefits of the other people's labor. And it's always going to be other people's labor. Because things don't come from nothing, regardless of what these people think. This is my biggest problem with these people. And it will go back to the to my conversation, to my discussion earlier about the argument I have. I'm in way too many subjects at the moment to just focus on one. Even someone has to build the robots, someone has to maintain the robots, but you can't have this entire society of art. We've already realized what happens with art. And Russ, fuck what I was saying. I want to sit at home and play video games all day. But I need to eat and I have a roof over my head, so I fix cars. But without motivation, no one would work. Well, they're already not working. This is the problem. They're already not working. They're already going out. Who are these socialists sitting around in the fucking streets protesting all day long? They're not surviving off of their fucking jobs while they're protesting at Occupy Wall Street all goddamn day long. That's why people keep pointing to people like George Soros, who was willing to socialize the entire situation by creating an environment where these people can get paid a minimum amount of money to protest their government. Anyway. Fuck, where the fuck was I? Nope, now I forgot where I was. Socialism. Useless eaters needing to be mass murdered afterwards. Wanting to live off the labor of others. Where the fuck was I going with this? I'm sorry, guys. I fucked up. Still going here. Fine. Whatever. I can't get my train of thought back. I'm gonna go back to the whole conversation I had with these people about spending and the carbon emissions tax. They every time I have the discussion, they keep telling me that we need to spend less, spend less, spend less. It's always about spending less. So, but the question was for me has always been, why are we spending less? And they keep saying, because we are a society of consumers and all we do is consume. Now, tell me that's not a fucking talking point from some fucking shitty documentary they saw on YouTube or what's his fucking fat face's Michael Moore or some Michael Moore garbage that he put out. And I always ask them, what do you mean spend less? And they go, we need to spend less, we need to consume less, we need to travel less, we need to restructure all of society, so we have to spend less money on things. This is incredibly funny to me when I start talking about the carbon emissions tax. When they say, well, the carbon emissions tax is going to encourage people to spend less money on gasoline. And I start laughing my ass off because I don't understand how making gasoline more expensive is going to make people spend less money on gasoline. It's inherently going to make people spend more money on gasoline. They say, well, it'll make them drive less because of it.
We need to talk.
And I have to keep pointing out to them, but you understand that the only people that will drive less and be forced to drive less and have harder times are the poor people in society that can't afford gas being at a higher rate. The corporations don't care The corporations have all the money. The majority of this is tax write-offable to them as well. It's going to be the poor people in society that literally can't afford to get to work and need to take 4 buses just to get to their goddamn jobs to barely make ends meet, that are the ones that are going to be suffering from your carbon emissions bill. Now, and I asked him, as a leftist, as a literal leftist, as somebody who's trying to help the poor people in society and create a more equal, more equal outcome overall, how are you literally going to sit there and tell me that your entire goal is to make poor people have harder lives and have other people spend more money on shit to give it back to the government that you're already unhappy with? How is that a solution to global warming? Because I've looked into the global warming situation, and the government doesn't have a single shred of a plan to actually solve anything. And that's when they stare blankly at me, call me a fucking, what do they call me? Call me something. They normally call me something. Call me dumb or something else and be like, you just don't get it. And I asked them, how do I not get it? I have people who I know who work for the government, who work through the carbon emissions bill to see where the money is going from our goddamn taxes. From our carbon emissions taxes. Do you know where it's going? It's going to India and China to fix their infrastructure. Their literal corporate infrastructure. Their power plants. Their regular plants. They're literally taking the money that I'm paying from my taxes and sending it over to third world nations to help them reach a better level of production to pollute less, while taking away the tax money from the poor people who can barely survive in Canada. And I don't know, like, every time I have this conversation with people, they stare at me blankly, they don't know what to do, and then they get really confused and change the subject. Or they say something like, well, I don't know about this, I haven't done my research. I'm like, I have done my fucking research. And they will never in their goddamn lives change. Because for that would mean that their entire, like, I've had leftists break down and cry in front of me. They've cried. Because I pointed out how they are functionally acting against their own best interest every step of the way with every word and phrase and plan that they put out. And they cry and they go, are you telling me everything I believe is bullshit? And I respond, no! I believe you believe everything you believe is bullshit. You're the one who has no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And someone somewhere down the road told you that you're a smart, beautiful, unique snowflake that can do no wrong and deserves to have every opinion. And don't get me wrong, they're absolutely 100% allowed to have an opinion. But as all opinions can be wrong as well. Sorry, that was the end of that. Let's see what the chat's been saying. Fuckwad says, they have no motivation to work because mommy and daddy pay their tuition, housing. And then sit around and talk about theory. Yes, talk about theory. Oh, you guys, I'm sure it's been a year since I've talked about how philosophy is literally useless. And I will fight everyone and anyone who comes in here on the usefulness of philosophy in the 21st century. Because I will kick your ass up and down the fucking aisle. Philosophy is inherently fucking useless. Anyone who gets a degree in philosophy is literally getting a degree in quotes or fucking, what do I call it? Life perceptions of pop cultures from the past. That's what it is. Every single one of these goddamn philosophers that they keep teaching you were actually doing something else completely. They were inventors, they were writers, they were thinkers, they were scientists. They did something other than philosophize. The majority of them did a lot more than just philosophize. But the philosophies that you read of them or from them are just literally books they wrote when they were bored about the way they feel and the way they think society functions, or just notions of the way they experience the world. And just like short snippets is what I hear from people. They're like, oh, think of Nietzsche. What did he say? God is dead. I'm like, motherfucker, don't quote at me some rich boy. Like, well, who was Nietzsche? Nietzsche was just a fucking writer who was actually a failed priest whose father was a priest. Who went through everything and then went, oh, God is dead. I'm a rebel. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck everyone. No, Siggy's not taking a class in philosophy. Siggy has to learn the history of psychology because psychology is heavily rooted in philosophy. Philosophy may, as I explained it, philosophy may have had a point, a term, a reason to exist because other branches of science has sparked from it. Like the philosophy was just like it encompassed a lot of things in the past. In the past, philosophy encompassed a lot of the sciences, a lot of the alchemies, a lot of just thought on mathematics. But once like mathematics was made its own discipline and people understood mathematics separately from just the philosophy, then philosophy became a little bit less useful. A lot of philosophical theories, where people derived a lot of psychology from philosophical theories on how people function and world perspectives. And that's why we have all these different psychologies or ways of looking at things through a psychological lens. We had physics and we had chemistry taken out of philosophy, and now all we have left with philosophy in the 21st century is literally just the quotes from the people that did useful shit. And it's basic quotes about their think about it. A lot of these people, like Nietzsche, for example, are really, really rich, fucking top of the tier individuals who have high status in society, who have nothing better to do than sit around at home and write fucking books because they literally don't have to work for a day in their life. And their entire fucking notion and entire goal for all of their message to all of society is God is dead and we killed him, so who cares? Let's begin the entire nihilist movement. Because nothing means anything and nothing matters. Yeah, when your life is literally about sitting around at home, literally playing with your dick, thinking about thinking, literally thinking about thinking, I can see how you'd come to the conclusion that nihilism is true and you have nothing better to do than sit around and nothing matters. Because you've shoved your own head so far up your ass and you started thinking about the way you think. I understand psychology emerged from that. But what's left is just thinking about thinking. It is the ultimate form of personal masturbation, where you sit around and think about how great you are and how you have the solution to, and how you understand how the world works. And he was functionally wrong. God isn't dead. God is still going strong today. And you know what we're discovering today more than ever? That we need God more than anything else in the world. That God is the thing that we might need to actually save our society from all the fucking nihilists that don't give a flying fuck about anyone or anything around them. Sorry, back to the chat. Bernie Sanders wants to guarantee everyone a job, $15 minimum wage. Fuck that shit. That's clearly not working. And Kathleen Wynne just introduced the $14 an hour minimum wage in Ontario. We're all fucked. You guys have no idea how fucked we are here because of it. Businesses are starting to close down already. A lot of people are losing their jobs, and a lot of people are having their benefits taken away that were previously not even mandated breaks. There was a giant controversy over the big coffee shop, the Tim Hortons, where a specific store owner was giving his employees extra food and extra breaks outside of the franchise's mandated shit. You just give them extra shit. He's like, guys, you guys do a good job, so I can afford to give you some extra shit for you to do for extra breaks, extra paid. It was extra paid breaks, an extra 15 minutes twice a day, paid breaks, and he let them take food and a bunch of other shit that they wanted for free. And the moment this $15 an hour wage thing, he's like, I'm not gonna fire anybody, but I'm sorry guys, I'm taking away these free paid this free paid shit. Now you have to take your lunch. You fucking can't have any of the fucking extra food. This is literally cutting into my profits. It's a $2.50 jump from the basic minimum wage that they had. They start everyone off at. It's a company that runs 50 people, and now 50 people have to get paid an extra $2 an hour. Now, do the math of 50 times $2 an hour times 40 hours a week.
Pascal.
And that's a ridiculous amount of money that all of a sudden he had to include into operating his costs. But what do the leftists say? The leftists say, fuck him, fuck everything about him, fuck corporations, Fuck that fucking greedy piece of shit. What he's got to do is give up his own personal profit. All the shit that he's worked towards. It costs almost $2 million to open the Tim Hortons franchise. These people are literally working off of the labor of other people. They don't realize that they are the ones that are working on the backs and off of the labor of other people. And now they're thinking that the other people are profiting off of their labor. This is why this is so fucking ridiculous. Also, the Kathleen Wynne has also introduced the Universal Income Program, where they're going to give people that already don't work $35,000 a year to do whatever the fuck they want with no strings attached. That's a fantastic way to just encourage all the work in the world, right, guys? That's when you want to go to work. When you're getting when you're getting 35 grand a year to do absolutely nothing. Now I just can't wait for Canada to have an extra jump in fucking online streamers, just so we can be represented in the world community of online video games. I should apply for it though. I really should. If it's no strings attached, I might be able to keep my job. But I might have to move to a different city. So we'll see. This is why I don't want to pay my taxes. This is why I want to get this is literally why I don't want to pay my taxes, because I don't care. I want to start my own religion. If I can continue to go under the name of Loki, I will just say I'm tributing the god Loki and start an entire new religion under his name. And maybe what just like every other religion out there, that I can just stop paying taxes. Just say I don't fall to the whims of shitty people doing shitty things under the guise of trying to help people. I worship the god of chaos, and the god of chaos says go fuck yourself. If shit isn't changing and if shit isn't improving, then it's getting worse. And when it gets worse, it gets better. So fuck you all. But alternatively, I also want to go and just live somewhere in the middle of nowhere with a cottage and grow my own pot and brew my own beer and just literally survive off of... Like, I don't want to sit around and play video games all day. I literally want to brew beer and grow my own pot now that it's legal. Like, I might be against it, but I might as well goddamn take my portion of that fucking prize. I knew enough fucking people that fucking ended up arrested with criminal records, and some of them have even ended up in jail for short durations of time for selling marijuana. Might fucking as well. Not like they're gonna get their criminal records wiped from possession or intent to sell. But then again, they broke the law and might as well do the time. So, I don't know, lots of bullshit. Anyway, back to the chat. Philosophy is the word for grown-up imagination time. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Isn't Siggy taking a class on philosophy? No. Siggy is getting her PhD in experimental psychology, which at the end of the day, I think she's decided she wants to go into the Department of Defense and to help work with the military-industrial complex to make some money and to help our militaries integrate. Also, she wants to do a lot of research into using MDMA into helping get rid of PTSD in everyone, actually. Not just soldiers, but in everyone. We want to make super weapons. We want soldiers to come back from the war, maybe with PTSD for having slaughtered millions of fucking innocents, but also be fine at the end of the day and be able to sleep at night. Otherwise, they might end up shooting up more schools or whatever the fuck else. Strangely, though, not a lot of military individuals who've gone rogue and have PTSD end up shooting other people in their society. They only end up killing themselves. Something to think about when you're taking away the guns of literally people you've trained to protect you. If their decision was to take their own life to protect you, then maybe you should be a little bit more grateful instead of calling them fucking war monsters and war criminals. That's, of course, to the left. Back to the chat. Finland ended their universal income program because it doesn't work. Well, I didn't need to fucking be told that it doesn't goddamn work. I know it doesn't work. It's libertarians that are claiming it does work. But who fucking knows? Maybe it'll work in Canada, guys. Give me your universal income program, guys. Let me do my thing. What am I even doing here? Is there even any more missions here? Seems to be. Okay, I guess I'm gonna... Okay, I gotta go down. What even is this? I didn't even know I can come down here. Holy shit. Look, it's going to continue to be that way, and everything's just going this way. The only thing you can do is now teach your kids the right way to behave, the understanding, the fundamentals of how money functions, because the schools aren't going to teach you. I guarantee you the teachers don't fucking have any idea how money works. So they're not going to teach you how it works either. They're not going to teach your kids how it works.
She sure cares about her little sister, huh?
Did I hear about
It's
the
pretty
situation
funny
in
to hear
England?
machines talk about
No.
siblings. Do you think she just means
What's
they
the
were built
situation
at
in
the same
England?
factory or something?
Maybe.
Italian boy taken off life support. Why? See, this is when I miss the good old days when we used to do this. When I used to have a couple of people in chat with me, and they'll just read the news to me, and I would just talk about how retarded the situation is. But look, the sanctity of life is one of the first things that the left is going to get rid of. It's already the first thing they're getting rid of. You can see the big divide between the two sides when conservatives say things like any abortion is actually murder, and human life is sacred, while the progressives, the nihilists, the leftists, whatever the fuck you want to call them, the regressives, are clearly absolutely don't give a shit about human sanctity, because again, God is dead, therefore there is no soul. Since there is no soul, there is
about?
absolutely
No idea.
no sanctity to life, and since there's no sanctity to life, murder, well, what's that shit called? What is the Italian boy being taken off life support called? Euthanasia. Euthanasia is perfectly fine. We just legally allowed doctors assisted suicide in Ontario. There was a big fight over that, but and yeah, euthanasia, abortion, and a bunch of other things, and that's fine. That's the society they want to build. I just want to start my own religion. I want to start my own religion, without the hangups of any other religions, without the
Say,
hangups
2B.
of. Oh, that's how close this
What?
place is.
When do you think you'll be willing to call me Nines?
9S works just fine.
Well, yeah, but
So, they'll keep it up.
This
They
job
always
can be
keep
pretty
it up.
rough
And they keep
sometimes,
doing
huh?
it, and they're gonna
We don't
keep
get
doing
to
it.
choose our assignments, and you should work on keeping your opinions in check. You're aren't
Like,
allowed to be
I
emotional,
do.
remember?
Like, can we
I
just
think
do that,
some of
guys?
us
Can we
are
do it?
better at
Who
that
wants to
than
sign up
others.
for my religion? So the parents wanted to take the boy to Italy for treatment, and he was taken off of life support in England without their consent. Huh. Oh shit! I wish Fern was here to hear that. That's fantastic. Me and her have been arguing about Britain's healthcare system. I keep pointing out to her that the reason it's failing is because they have open borders with the rest of Europe, and people can come and go wherever the fuck they want. But it's failing, and it's getting too expensive, and they keep having to raise the... What was the taxes at? 44% now of your income tax? Just to continue to support a failing healthcare system. And they just have to keep raising the price to the point where, yeah, this is what's going to happen. They're just going to say, nope, not worth our time anymore. You are now officially not worthy, not equal enough to merit life, I guess. I guess that's the degree we're going to. Your life has no merit to us, and therefore we have no problem taking you off of life support and just getting rid of you altogether.
Careful, 2B. I'm picking up.
Over there.
Come on. Oh, it's over here. And just expect more of it. That's all I can say. Just expect a lot more of it. Like, I don't have to be a religious person to understand that human life has meaning, does matter. I think we've always, a lot of us have always said that
Easy there, little guy. It's all right.
every single human life
You
has
weren't
infinite
scared, were
potential. It's just really sad what people have been doing with their
should
lives
leave
recently.
before
And it's the entire rant from yesterday.
Kid, don't be unreasonable.
Of people literally taking the infinite possibilities of their lives and just literally
Any ideas,
leaving it
2B?
towards
I've never dealt
causing
with a snot-nosed
shit.
machine before.
You got me.
Just being garbage people. And that's fine.
More
That-
enemies incoming.
That's
I'm on.
fully allowed, isn't it? It is their infinite potential for them to spoil and squander. And they will. So I would like for the government, let's say, the government, the school system, for the education system to maybe instill these ideas that you have infinite potential. Don't squander it on literally being a garbage shitlord on the internet. With literally no intention of doing anything with yourself outside of making other people feel bad. And that's really shitty. Eventually I'll go into the whole Satanism thing with you guys too. How I almost believe that the majority of the world is
Are you finished?
just
Your mother,
completely
so
completely satanic at this point. I think me and Mango talked about this yesterday. Well, there you go. That's what happens when you
Stay
give
close, all right?
too much
Don't go
power to the
wandering
government,
off.
right? They overrule the parent. Well, people already said this is the kind of shit that's going to
She sure
happen.
was.
The moment
So let's
you
go
give the
home and
government
have you
power over
apologize,
the
all
people
right?
to such a degree where they can take the child away from the parents and do whatever the hell they want with the child over the parents' best wishes, is exactly what. No, it'll keep happening. As long as the government can take away your child once they deem it's necessary. Like, the left has been pushing the, well, back in the day, they were pushing for the government to recognize religious parents as child abusive. So if you teach your children about God and about heaven and hell, that's literally child abuse, and you should have your kids taken away from you. You guys remember that whole conversation? I do. I was part of it to a certain degree. I was never for taking children away from their parents. But I sure still remember people talking about it. But again, this is why we need more protection from the government at this point as opposed to being protected by the government. Because clearly we're not being protected by the government at this point. This is my overall conclusion point, notion, my overarching point to every single argument I've ever had with anyone. The majority of the people of whatever country we're in have a problem, not with other people, but with the government. It is the government that is inherently ruining everything. It is the government creating laws. It is the government not creating laws. It is the government censoring people. And I do believe that we need... I don't know. I guess in Canada it doesn't count because we're still under the Queen, I guess, to a certain degree. Hold on. What's the chat? Oh, fuck. There we go. Okay, back to the chat. The case is similar to that of Charlie Grad, a British infant with a rare neurological disorder. His parents wanted to take him out of the country for treatment, but the British courts overrode their decision. There you go, guys. See? Look at that. fuck your kid, who cares? Who cares, right? Because you can just have another one. Just abort it. You can just post-birth abort it. And you can just have another one. Because sanctity of life no longer exists in today's world. Not to your government, anyway. But yeah, that's every single point I've made thus far with everyone I've latent death panel. I don't know what that is. But every single argument I keep having with people is that literally every problem they have isn't with other people in society. It is with the government. It is always going to be inherently with the government. But I don't know how to get this message out. I don't know how to continuously remind them that I'm not their enemy. And you know what? Who else isn't their enemy? The majority of the people they're constantly complaining about. Like, how many videos did I conclude? Have I put together where I concluded that the majority of what's happening in the world, that people have a problem with, is not the right, not the left, not anything other than the government, and it's really bad because I say people because it's people. There's always the problem that we encounter when it comes to actors. Which is another issue I've had with, or shows, TV shows, for example, ideological leanings within things. Like, over the past year, over the past 6 months, I've noticed that this overarching trend of over-aggressive male rapists showing up in TV shows. I don't know if you guys have seen this, where a woman is clearly showing complete displeasure or disinterest in him, where like she'll brush him off and take his arm off her, and then he continues to get more and more aggressive. Have any of you ever actually witnessed a real person doing that, or is that just a TV show? Because I've never witnessed a real person doing that. Because if I ever saw anyone get even remotely close to that type of behavior, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? She's clearly not interested. What's wrong with you? But again, I've never had to do that because literally never happened. Not to that level of aggression. And this is where we go. This is where we are. This is the kind of shit that we have to do because I guess as much as we hate to admit it, no, not we hate to admit it. As much as I hate to admit it, the television influences people to too much of a degree. And the progressives are constantly pushing progressively forward and forward over everything. Which shows? I saw it on shit. What did I just finish watching a second ago? I think Jessica Jones had the notion of it happen. Shit, what did I just watch? I'm forgetting what I'm watching already because I'm paying so little attention to it. Grey's Anatomy had a few instances in one of the later seasons. I was sitting around on the couch watching Siggy watch it, and that I had that one moment where the doctor is like asking the woman out for drinks, and she's like, "No." Hey, Dennis Marr, how's it going? Welcome back for day 2, or is it your second day in a row? And he's like aggressively going, oh yeah, why don't we fuck? Like, he's like, why don't we go for drinks and then go back to your place afterwards? She goes, no. He's like, why are you being a bitch? I'm like, yeah, see, nobody reacts that way. You don't just go, no, I don't want to fuck you. I don't want to have sex with you. He goes, why are you such a prude bitch? That's not how real people interact. That's how a feminist writes stories. And I've been seeing it a little bit more. What am I watching? Hold on. Let me quickly check my Netflix queue. What did I just go through? There was something me and Siggy just finished watching. That had like several of those moments. Well, there it is. To watch it again. Altered Carbon had a few of those moments, I think. There's a lot of shit I've been watching recently. I think Dirk Gently had a few of those moments. Oh god. What is all this garbage I've been watching? Okay. Well, I didn't find it. It's not there yet. Dennis Marr, I've played Fortnite. I told you I need a team, and it doesn't stream well because my ping gets too high, and then I started having issues with the ping. But again, if you maybe I'll go back to playing Fortnite after I'm done this game. I should be getting closer to the end of it, but again, I keep getting distracted and talking a lot instead of actually playing the game. So that's another slight issue. But what the fuck was it? Alright, I guess I'm going there. Instead of straight ahead where those giant robots are. Hopefully there won't be too many of them. I've even asked people to come and play Fortnite with me because it's better to have a team. Okay, so as far as Black Mirror goes, I really like season 1 and 2. I really liked season 2. Yeah, 1 and 2. But there's something strange
Pascal was talking
about
the records say it was
season
once a facility
3,
known as a
where
shopping center.
where the white blonde Scandinavian woman mass murders, or at least bludgeons an entire family, a Muslim brown family, to death. Because she's the murderer.
Maybe there's some kind of mechanism we could engage? If we were human, we probably would have gone shopping and such here, right?
More meaningless conjecture.
Well, I've been
So serious too,
see,
you
I've been going
know
on
that?
about 1984 since I learned about 1984, because literally, what's that one meme that I keep posting with my videos? It's 1984 was supposed to be a warning,
Who the
not
heck is the
a
Forest King?
You're getting
not a
distracted.
manual.
Well, what do you expect? I'm a scanner.
And yeah, it's getting really bad because
Vortex.
literally, what do you call it? The thought police has officially shown up. Now Twitter and YouTube and not Twitch so much. But yeah, so the thought police of Twitter, YouTube, and a bunch of these other places are just decided that they're going to enact
It's going to explode!
all the secrets thought police upon everybody and just censor the shit out of them. And that's what I feel happens a lot of. The fuck?
Huh? Hey, where am I?
What's that?
Hey there, guys. What's up?
This thing's weird, 2B. Let's kill it.
Wait, what? No!
Good idea.
No!
If any of you guys
Okay,
have ever
what
watched
was that?
my book club, what we did was we read 1984. No, we didn't read 1984. Most recently, we were going to read 1984, and we're going to read Brave New World, because it's always been Huxley versus whatever the fuck his other guy's name was, to see which dystopian society we're moving closer towards. After going through them, I wanted to do a comparison to see which one we're
Looks like
closer
the
to.
forest is just ahead.
Dystopian warlike world where we're constantly being thought policed and monitored every step of the way, and secretly dragged off to torture camps to be reprogrammed. Or we're gonna live in this happy utopian society where the rich benefit off of the slavery of other people while also enjoying all the comforts of non-stop drug addiction and pedophilia. Guess where we are? We're actually, my whole point of that stream was going to be when I do it, the 1984 versus Brave New World one, is that we're actually in the combination of both. We're constantly monitored and oppressed, suppressed, brainwashed, continuously fed information that they want us to believe when clearly a lot of the information is trash.
Here they come. Better keep your guard up.
I'm aware of how to fight. You just be careful.
I will too,
Ooh,
be.
new enemies. New enemy types. If only I could see what's happening.
These machines.
They were talking about a king, right? I saw what looked to be a castle further in.
So
maybe we should take a look.
I'm thoroughly stressing out about the whole pedophilia situation because that's getting me more worried than any of the other things that have been I never thought that in my lifetime would be bringing back the notion of pedophilia being something that's acceptable within society. And I don't want to turn this whole thing into a cry fest about the children, but I have not read War and Peace. If there's a stream friendly version of it, I would love to just stream and play video games over War and Peace, because that's the way I like to do my things. I've listened to several books while playing video games. Now I just try and talk to you guys while playing video games. But yeah. There's a few books I've wanted to read through just to get some points across. Some of that Machiavellian, the Art of War. What was the other one? There's a few other books about a few things, but mostly. I think I need to do more research on a few of my solutions. But I also don't know how to go about it. Like, if I did want to start my own religion, who'd help me? You guys help me. You guys help me start my own religion. Wait, what's not acceptable? This is getting to that weird point where it's a giant hack and slash adventure. You know those games where you repeatedly run around hacking and slashing giant hordes of enemies? What are those Japanese games called? Yeah, the Prince, Machiavelli. Yeah, that guy. I wanna go through his. Look, every religion is a cult before it becomes a religion. The difference between religion and cult, actually, it goes gang, then cult, then religion. It's just a matter of how many members you have, and whether you're willing to put together a book on your religious beliefs. Which I do. I can. I've started writing one a while back. But, oh, right, pedophilia. No, it's not acceptable. And I don't know where we got to the point where it was even discussed. And I tried to do my last podcast on the subject. But I ended up rambling a lot because I didn't have my shit together. And I just never uploaded it. And me and Siggy haven't done a podcast since that one. I think I'm going to redo the whole thing, though.
What is with these guys?
Don't listen to what they're saying, 2B.
I think this is the thing that I was being told about the game, is that it's fun to run around and kill things, but like being aware to a certain degree of what's happening in this game, I'm slowly realizing that I'm again killing a lot of creatures that ooh, I actually haven't come up with a name for it yet. But what is it in a name anyway? I was playing with some edgy term like Deus Ex Chaotica, just to refer that God is within the chaos, because you know Loki and shit. So it may be an interesting idea to play with. For me anyway. I don't know if other people still want to. I'm not sure how much I even support that entire notion anymore. But you know how cyclical how cyclical the world is. Chaos breeds order. Chaos breeds creation. The stability will always cause more chaos. What's happening here? What are we doing?
The enemy is among us. Don't let any intruder get in. We must protect our king. Intruders detected. Loyal knights, give your lives for the king of all.
What the? I'm glad I got the I don't know. I think I can even put some pretty decent new age spiritual shit into it too. I'm quite aware of a lot of spiritual aspects. I've done a lot of meditation before. My mom's filled my head full of all kinds of crap throughout my childhood. And I read I've read, I think, the Torah and the Bible on numerous occasions. How is it different than others? You're just gonna have to read the Bible, or my version of the Bible, or whatever the fuck I'm gonna call it. It's different that it works slightly differently on slightly different principles. It's a lot of like I said, it's probably a lot of new age principles that a lot of people don't understand, mixed in with a lot of psychology that I love, because psychology is incredibly important in a lot of this stuff. And it's going to be more relevant than 95% of the other religions because it's modern. It's kind of my argument against most philosophy too. I've said this to many people, and feel free, you guys, feel free to use this with any people you're arguing with philosophy for. You can say whatever the fuck. Basically, if you have an argument or a counter argument to most things, or even if you have just an opinion, and somebody quotes some stupid old philosopher or some old philosopher, just point out to them one very important thing. Ask them something like, whose opinion or view is more important, mine or, let's say, Aristotle's? And of course, since they've already been taught to believe and rely on their new gods, their new philosophy gods, they'll say that Aristotle obviously has more sway, more what the fuck do you call it? More authority than me. And I always ask them why, and they say because he's Aristotle, blah blah blah. Philosophy is based on him. And I'll just quickly point out that I am a 21st century digital individual who actually lived in modern day society, who's got a full-fledged understanding of the world around me through the lens of Aristotle's work, but also other philosophies built upon it for nearly 2,000 years. Aristotle has no idea what it's like to have lived in modern day society. But I know what his opinions were about society, everyone else's after him opinions on today's society, and I actually live in today's society, which is why my point will be inevitably and just infinitely more relevant than anything Aristotle said. And that's my argument. I actually exist today, and my knowledge base is built upon their knowledge base. So, at the end of the day, my opinion's still more relevant than theirs. And that goes with most most philosophers. Why create my own religion? I want to create my own religion to address a lot of the issues I have. Unlike things like Satanism, where they're direct responses to other religions, or Luciferianism, because they are inherently Judeo-Christian at its core. I do not want to create a religion that is based off of Judeo-Christianity or any of the other Christianities. I want to encompass a religion that will address a lot of the issues I have with today's society. I want to talk about philosophy, psychology, technology. I want to talk about the universe and the world as it is. And I want to present a few arguments about how and why we should worship the chaos. But see, like I said, this was a thing I came up with a long time ago, and it might not be as relevant. But again, a lot of what my own personal beliefs are and stances are on my, let's say, religion, is because as much as I want to worship the chaos of it all, it is only in the chaos that the truth is normally revealed. People think that order and structure is the best, is literally... Why I keep leaving that area? Is normally where you want to be, is where the truth lies, it's where the... It's where everything is developed. But for me, everything I've ever witnessed is that it's always hard to go through the change and the chaos, but once things start to stabilize is when things get progressively worse. Because the moment things stop changing, the moment people stop fighting, the moment people start normalizing, is when the old notions, the old notions start fighting for control. And trying to bring things back to the way they were.
This place looks familiar.
There it is.
Right. It's from that woman's photograph. I'll be sure
And
to get her the coordinates.
I personally want the tax-exempt religious status,
honest,
and I want my members to have a
quite get why
tax-exempt
she
religious
cares about these
status.
particular photos.
And one of the main points I want in my religion is that we should have the option to opt in and out of a lot of things. You can't opt in and out of a government unless the religion gets big enough for us to be able to buy a country, where you could opt in and out of certain principles. But I would like to be to have most of my constituency be able to opt out of any support of, let's say, abortion or euthanasia. Any funding that goes through it, the government has to show us that like, it's the whole thing. I don't want to fund euthanasia or abortion. I don't want to fund shitty social programs. And that's why I want it. And I don't think a lot of people think this think it through enough. Like it's fine to say I worship Jesus Christ and I want to do unto others as I do to me, but literally, most people have very little self-awareness. I also want a lot of self-awareness. I want to preach a lot of self-awareness. I want to preach understanding. I want to preach alternative points of view to a certain degree. One thing that I think that I've been taught that some people may not have is it's not compassion. Is that? But have you ever looked at the situation through the through somebody else's shoes, through somebody else's eyes, to see how other people could perceive your actions and your doing, or at least to see? Like, I understand empathy works that way, where you can empathize with somebody, but empathizing with them is not necessarily the same thing as actually trying to see a situation thoroughly through their eyes. Most people, again, don't want to. They don't want to feel like they were wrong about something. What's this thing? Oh, or capacity full. Oh, that's fantastic. And a lot of people aren't willing to change. And this is the whole point of actually saying, yeah, chaos. Chaos is important. Do you know why chaos is important? Because there should be chaos within you. You should still be exploring new ideas and new ideologies at every step of the way. Because we live in an ever-changing world as well. A world isn't stationary. It's not stable. The people you meet and deal with on a day-to-day basis are also completely different. They do different things. They react to things differently. We know that they're all different. I can't say they're all the same, and you can't treat everyone the way you'd want to be treated. This is my whole point of whenever I talk to people who say, well, live and let live. And I ask, okay, so live and let live. There's an individual here who is a sociopath who likes to inflict pain upon other people. Who also likes to have a little bit of pain inflicted on him. Why should we let him live amongst us as if one of us, when his goal is to inflict pain? There's no live and let live. There's no do not judge. You cannot, like, this one fundamental aspect of Christianity I don't agree with. Or at least the Judeo-Christian principles, is the non-judging aspect. I think this is where Islam got a lot of their religious zealotism. It's the Judeo-Christian principle of, yeah, you can still judge quite a bit. Islam has a lot of the judging, but Christianity is trying to get rid of a lot of the judging, which makes it a lot more appealing to a lot of people. But it also functionally makes it weaker than other religions. Because you can't not judge and just let live. Like the whole thing of like turn the other cheek. That probably wouldn't work for me. I can't just turn the other cheek when somebody's hitting me. I understand the functionality of something like that, of like forgive. But then it just, I don't know. I can't do it. I can't watch somebody destroy everything around me and just say, yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm sure something will eventually come to me after I die. And that might be a large portion of it, is that I don't want to wait till I'm dead to receive the benefits of being alive. Think about that. So I'd much rather worship the chaos and either enact chaos to initiate change for the stronger ideas to be successful, or just lose. And I guess it's better to lose than to have not fought at all. A lot of people are willing to just lay down and die.
So those machines had a king?
Not me,
but
guys.
How can a concept like loyalty be understood by a machine?
Says the machine. Any other thoughts on the subject? Or can we move on? No idea where I'm going. I do like this landscape. I'm not sure which part of medieval Europe I'm in, because this sure as hell isn't Japanese architecture. So I'm not even quite sure which part of the world I'm currently exploring and killing robots in. Why?
I'll never let you pass. Die and thrive.
That looks like a boss fight. You know what I should have done? Oh, damn. Fuck. Am I gonna self-heal? Auto-heal? Yes. Alright. Note to self. Okay, other note to self. Jump when he jumps. Oh, is that it? Is he dead? No, he's not dead. There we go. And he's dead. And another chip. Deadly heal obtained. I don't know what that is. I don't think that was much of a boss fight as much as it was a fight I had with something bigger than me. Because these things kind of happen all the time. It's just a little bit stronger. Boss fights are intense bullet hell fights. But you guys can kind of see why I'm getting a Dark Souls 3 feel from it. Or at least a Dark Souls feel from it. It's a lot of the same type of architecture, just a lot brighter and happier.
Yep, this looks like a king's castle, all right.
But maybe it's just the Japanese way of making video games. Like, this is a giant court area for whatever the fuck lived here. But, like, I don't know if humans would build something this big. Have you guys been to real castles? I'm also wondering what that moose is doing here. There's clearly not enough food for it to sustain itself forever. Hello, Kylo Ren. You can't go through the chat. You have to follow along in the conversation, the way we went through it in actual voice. They ask questions, and I transition from point A to point B. But welcome, regardless. And it wasn't just about any religion. It was about me starting my own religion. Ha! Ha! Fuckwad's asking, are any of the vending machines that you save at the ones that sell used panties? This is a Japanese game after all. Possibly. I'll have to. Oh look, I was able to go up all along. I'll have to take a closer look at what's actually being sold in the vending machines because.
Watch out for hostile enemies, 2B.
Roger that, 9.
Huh? Wait, what did you just say?
Roger that, 9S.
Wait, no, that's not what you said. You said 9s. Or at least something close to.
Cut the chatter and engage the enemy.
Ah, I fell. 2D side-scrolling adventure, guys. Ah! No, get away.
Analysis. This part belongs to a machine life form.
Don't need this.
I wonder why.
Analysis. This part belongs to a machine life form.
Don't need this.
Why? Why? Then I'm going to come back for it. Why you make me do this? I guess they do like bleak games, but I like bleak games too. So I wouldn't say the Japanese per se, but like, look at a game like Far Cry 5. We just finished playing that. That's bleak as fuck too. Where the hell am I supposed to go there from? Like for spoilers for those of you who don't want to know how Far Cry 5 ends, I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to mute yourself. The ending of Far Cry 5 involved literally the United States of America getting nuked, probably by Russia, just to make the whole thing that much more interesting. No, okay, I'm supposed to be going this way. Right. Can I go up? Can I go down? Okay, I'm missing something here. I'm sure they do. It's a convenient, very convenient for them to not hire people and just have machines doing all the work for them. Copper ore full. But again, bleak looking. Oh, okay. So I guess you. No, okay. I'm not gonna be one of those. But have you played The Line? That this entire game reminds me of that game too. It's all fucking collapsed. It's all buried under sandstorm stuff. In some kind of weird Western society that lived in the desert. I don't understand how it works. Okay, so I can't get up there without going to. To get there, I have to go through there. God damn. Okay. I guess I kind of have a map. Oh, I guess I did go the right way. I guess this game is bleak looking. I kind of do wish it had more color in it, maybe? More color would have been nice. But it is very... Get down. It is very bright, I guess. Well, yeah, the whole Japanese thing, the whole MGTOW thing was started in Japan because people literally don't want to do anything anymore, I guess. I think they're done. I think their version of rebellion is now no sex, no reproduction. So God knows what's happening there. Like I can't even fathom to know what a heavily controlled population is actually doing behind closed doors. But like you know how bad it is over there, right? There's a lot of aging population. There's not a lot of work, not enough work. They have an incredibly strict society that's basically you don't pass high school and you don't even get another chance. You live your days out as a fucking anime weeaboo individual, anime loving. Oh, it's not anime loving. It's anime fetishizing maybe individual. Because literally those people have set a standard for women that is unattainable by regular women. Think about that. Literally, the Japanese have set a standard that is unattainable by regular women for men. And those men don't want regular women. Because they don't want to, well, be women. I'm gonna guess they don't want to be women. That's why that meme exists. Today women are like, oh shit. Today women are like, I don't cook, I don't clean, I don't do this, I don't do that. I don't want kids, and I don't want to get married. And then they're like, where are all the good men at? Sure. Yeah, okay, we can all joke about the traps, but I will say that I do think that the traps situation is a Western thing, not a Japanese thing. Which I'm kind of worried about, because if literally our society is encouraging men to be attracted to other men, while women, I don't know, what do women do? What are they currently doing to make the situation better? Because women don't like women as much as women like men. And men now like other men more than they like women. What the fuck kind of society am I living in? And I'm also having a problem with you're gonna see this not in the pretty soon. I'm gonna say pretty soon you're gonna see this, where porn is no longer going to be there isn't going to be a real distinction between men and women in porn. A lot of it has already been happening through anything from penetrative action. Like there's a bunch of porn out there where it's the women penetrating the men. It's hard to explain. You gotta watch our porn reviews to understand what the fuck I'm talking about. But basically it's all gone so far that it's just being devalued and degraded by the general notion of the nihilists, I guess. The people who don't give a flying fuck about anything in society anymore. Another one. Come on, lock on. Fuck. Fuck. Look, it's true. Women don't need to try to be attractive for men. They don't need to. No one is forcing them to do it. That's the best part. Is that literally nobody's forcing them to do anything. No one will ever force them to do anything. The point has never been to... Ow, ow, ow. Fuck's sakes. Guys, this entire thing is cheating at this point. Whatever this thing is doing, it's cheating. I actually believe that feminism is... Hey, Bearded, how's it going? Feminism is actually teaching women to not be attractive and to completely not take care of themselves, to make it, as they always say, to literally make it easier for other less attractive females to get ahead in life. There's no other reason for it. Because remember, beauty is supposed to be only as skin deep, only as pretty as you yourself feel or are. And these people are not making themselves pretty, and they definitely don't feel good. And that's the whole point of all of this, isn't it? That they themselves don't feel good, but they expect everyone else to find them attractive, as if that's going to change anything about them. Oh, shit. What? Like, I've talked to a bunch of people, and I'm like, why is it that feminism is so adamant about making women look more like men? Why are they so heavily pushing the idea that it's okay to just look like a slob? That they should be able to do whatever the fuck they want in the workforce, or dress however they want. I've seen, like, what was it? There's constant articles about schools and how they keep asking girls to put on less revealing clothing. And they complain that they shouldn't have to because they're hot. And then they complain about being sexually harassed, and then they complain about when they're asked to wear that same clothing at work. So there's a lot of issues with a lot of different things. Like I said, everything is like so stupidly nuanced.
Their king?
Ah, she's got a gun sword. Fuck's sakes. I knew I can upgrade my swords to have guns.
2B, that's an android. A Yorha-type android.
Alert. This unit is currently wanted by Yorha. Annihilation recommended.
Annihilation? But why?
She's got some good swords
Let's
too.
go, 9S.
2B?
Bunker to 2B and 9S. We've picked up a signal from the black box of a fugitive known as A2. What you see in front of you is your enemy.
What?
But she's...
She deserted us. She's destroyed multiple pursuit androids. Now kill her before she kills you.
Oh. Yeah, she's definitely gonna kill me. How much damage am I doing? Oh, what the fuck? What? Well, at least my Gatling gun is doing some damage. Is that it?
Why? Why did you betray us?
Command is the one that betrayed you.
Let's go after her, 2B.
All right.
She's gone.
Operator, this is 9S. Patch me through to the commander.
Roger that, 9S.
I'm sorry, Commander. We failed to defeat the fugitive.
I see. Well, at least you're both safe. That's an incredibly powerful unit you just faced. You should probably keep your distance in the future.
Commander, why did A2 desert the Force?
I'm afraid that's classified.
Oh? Huh. 2B,
Yeah?
let's go ask Pascal about A2. He might know something.
All right.
Pascal? This is 9S.
Oh, you survived. How wonderful.
Yeah, we're fine. But there's something we want to ask you about.
Of course. Anything.
Actually, it needs to be in person.
Understood. I'll open the gate we built to deter enemy invaders. You'll be able to reach the village through there.
I agree. Kylo Ren says feminism in developed countries keeps complaining about stupid things while there are women in the third world, where there are women in third world countries where they have access to basic amenities. Yeah, that's a large problem here. This is why I've jokingly started several Kickstarter campaigns to fund a bunch of feminists to go over to some third world countries. I guess to go do whatever the fuck they want. To go spread their feminism of acceptance and love there. But then again, I've also posted quite a few memes. And I say memes. I don't mean they're memes. I mean like little news story bits of feminists that keep going to the Middle East and Africa to spread their message of love and acceptance and end up getting raped and murdered. So I don't dare tell them what they should and shouldn't be doing. It is not my place. But what I do is I want... This is how we got into the conversation of religion. Because I want to start my own religion where I can either opt in or opt out of certain social bullshit. I would love to live in my own environment where I can make... I've been talking about this over the past couple of days. I want to brew my own beer. I want to grow my own pot. I want to sell my pot, and I want to have a solar farm where I can produce electricity so I can sell it back to the government. I will literally be making money off of renewable energy, and nobody can say shit to me. I want to live off the residual income of that, which isn't expensive. I can maintain the solar farm myself because I've worked on solar farms before. And in my off time, I will absolutely expand my solar farm, buy more property, and brew more beer and grow more pot. The pot I will also convert into edibles, and I will either sell or give away those edibles as like Patreon rewards. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, some of you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like, sustainable farming, sustainable whatever the fuck, and I just want to be left alone. That's literally what I want. I want to be left alone. If I want to trip on fucking mushrooms at my fucking cottage somewhere next to my solar farm while brewing beer and talking to my fucking marijuana plants, who the fuck in the world is going to tell me that I'm doing something bad? Huh? Who out there is going to tell me that I'm an evil person if I just want to be secluded and just left to my own devices? Nobody. And I'm hoping nobody. But there's a very strong possibility that it will be somebody. So that's my goal. That's my ultimate life goal. I wish there was more to my life that I want to do. I wish there's more we could achieve, but right now I'm afraid of trying to run my own business. I'm afraid of trying to take on new employees. Everyone wants to be unionized. Everyone wants to go and get a piece of something they didn't work towards. And I do think I would like to teach people, my children. I'd like to teach my children the potential honest day's labor aspect of everything. Wait, okay, I'm an atheist too. There's a difference between religion and not religion. I just it's the loophole. It's the loophole I'm given to be able to get out of certain governmental control, and will allow other people to get out of governmental control. I want to be able to opt in and out to certain things. It's a whole nuanced situation. You might want to go back and in the stream and look at where the conversation started and why it started. Think of it as more of a brand new age philosophy with religious overtones to make it completely acceptable for me to apply for religious status, just so I can have tax exemption. And then all my cottages that I can have worldwide will be tax exempt. We'll be producing marijuana, beer, and solar power. And I think that's an honest way to live. Away from everyone else, providing something for society that's not harmful to the environment, and also in entertaining and enjoying yourself. Of course, I want to continue having internet, playing video games, live streaming per se. I would definitely love to go through the process with some people about my beer brewing, or about how my plants are doing, or about how easy it is to put together a solar farm. Keep doing my podcast on stuff. There it is. Oh yeah, I just remembered why. Oh god. Actually, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it. Someone subscribed to me the other day and it didn't pop up. In fact, while I'm playing Nier in borderless mode, I think it won't even show up. You can feature your beer on. I'm hoping to almost be exclusively drinking my own beer on the podcast. Like I said, the beer. I'm hoping to see what kind of regulations there are, but I'm hoping to be able to ship the beer and the edibles and everything else through the mail. Well, once we fully legalize, and I'll be just sending my own brands out as rewards for Patreons and shit. I don't have much else to give people at the moment. Well, I guess shipping pot is easier than shipping beer. I have shipped beer quite far, but it kind of gets ruined. And as all good craft beers, they need to they need to be drank relatively fresh and kept refrigerated. So, I've also looked into not the process, the equipment necessary to start brewing beer at a level that is acceptable for me to learn. And I think it's at about the $700 mark, which is fine for the most part. I guess I can live with that. Eventually, I'll get around to. I don't know. I don't know if I have to buy a new PC first or if I have to go buy my plants first. No, not the edibles. The gummies and the marijuana is absolutely shippable across border. That's not one of the issues. The issues was the beer specifically. Apparently, you're not allowed to transport liquids, certain types of liquids through regular mail. You have to load up a truck and actually send the truck across. A few of my friends already ship. A few people I know already ship beer back and forth from the States to Canada. Some even going international. And as they go international, my friends also had beer seized at the border by customs, and they told him that he's not allowed to ship beer, and he argued with them for 2 hours over the course of a couple of days.
Hello there. Hello? Testing.
Yeah, Pascal? Is that you?
9S. Yes, it is me. Many apologies.
Wait, why is there no area designated now? Oh my god. Whatever.
Transmission. I heard that you were searching for the missing child, yes? Well, if you would, please consider this a personal request from myself as well. Go find the child as quickly as you can. She's such a good little girl and so fond of her sister. She's probably somewhere around the desert at the moment. That's where she's likely to find the dented plate her sister needs.
Got it.
Thank you so much. And please be careful, all right?
Kylo Ren says, I just heard that Chuck Schumer is bringing a bill to legalize weed. Okay, good. There you go. So more and more states are going to legalize it because once the federal government legalizes, then everyone might as well follow suit unless it's ideological. In which case, like, it will be up to each and individual state to do what they need to do. Which, again, I also have no problem with. I would like to just maybe have my own state. Where I can take care of people in my own community without needing to involve the government in the bullshit. Okay, she said she's in the desert somewhere. Like I said, I would thoroughly love to not have to work for other people. just work for myself and maybe even be alone. It's a lot easier to just do your own thing over and over and over again. And then rely on yourself and not rely on other people. Like right now, I'm relying on other people to make my money. And it's torturous hell. Luckily, like, my boss informed me yesterday that he's got to go to a wake and some other bullshit, and both things are completely out of town. So I don't have work till probably next week. He said he'll let me know about Friday. Luckily, my other boss, friend, I don't know, the other guy I work for, told me that he desperately needs me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So since I had my weekend over the past 2 days, I guess I'll have a non-weekend over some other time. Which, again, is going to fuck up my schedule and fuck everything up. And if Monday come, I'm unrested and I have another full week of it. And goddamn do I wish I was making enough money right now to actually be able to put money aside. Because I really want that property. Like, it'd be fantastic. Whee. But again, I can only work hard. I can't expect anything from anyone. Not until the religion. And once the religion comes about, we'll start expecting things from people. But nothing real, because I still have mostly no expectations from most people. I'm also about to fucking end this stream, because this has been going on for nearly 2 hours again. And I'm still blabbering on to myself.
Is that?
I am using farm the mod. Oh. Hold on. Using farm mod. I don't think it's a mod.
Let's get her back to Pascal.
But it is a
get
program
lost out
that's
here
letting you
anyway?
run the game in window borderless mode. I think that's what I have it set to. I don't think I didn't have to activate it today.
Oh, come on now, don't cry. Did you at least
But
find
yeah,
what you
it's
needed?
otherwise this game has that black border around it, and it's
sure
just
she
a shit show.
But I bet she'll be even happier to see
I'll have
you
to
back
readjust
home
everything. I
safe
just
and
found out that
sound.
Streamlabs has their own version of OBS, which means everything's already fully integrated. So I might not have to dick around with a lot of the settings. I'll just use their version of it. I just don't like the fact that they don't have studio mode. I like the ability to be able to switch between my black screen
It's just an area
with the
that
smoke
lost all its
effect
vegetation due to a lack of
and
precipitation. This caused lasting changes in the soil, which means plants aren't able to. Soil? It's dirt, ground, the stuff we're walking on.
yeah, and they don't have that yet. So I'm using studio mode to just transition between the two. Otherwise, I'll have to set two specific hotkeys. Oh god, another mission. Oh, I hate escort missions. Fuck what? What do you mean technically to us? Is it us or US?
Wind is just a force caused by changes in temperature and atmospheric pressure and... Huh. That's actually a hard question now that I think about it. Kinda deep, really.
What?
I mean, where does the wind blow from? What do you think, 2B?
Don't know, don't care.
That's true. I am technically blabbering on to you guys about stuff. There you go. But what else am I gonna do, guys? What else am I gonna do? Global illumination. I don't really have too much of a problem with technical issues. My biggest issues with the game have been being able to tab out of it and OBS not picking it up. Otherwise, I haven't had performance issues at all. Okay, it crashed on me once.
Well, machines can't really make children. Neither can androids, now that I think about it. 2B? Little help here?
Huh? You're the chatty one. Work it out.
Ooh. Wow, it's getting late. Let's get you home already.
You know what I should have done, though, before I started playing? I should have put some food out. By food out, I mean some meat out, so I have something to cook later on when Siggy gets home. She also wanted me to go grocery shopping and do laundry. I feel like I'm the wife in this relationship. Which is awkward enough for me. How far do I have to walk this one? So, Kylo Ren, you have this game, then. Is there any multiplayer versions of it? Yeah, you know what I found out the other day? That Far Cry 5 only has... Is that it? Oh, only has the co-op. Only 2-player co-op. Pink ribbon? Why'd you give me a pink ribbon? Can I wear the pink ribbon? Alright. Well, I guess I should go save. Can I save? I can't save here. What do you think of Trump? Oh, goddamn. And here we were not gonna get political. Okay. Let's navigate the Trump conversation carefully. What? Trump, I never liked Trump. I never liked him on TV. I never liked him. What is happening here?
Well, that would...
Yep.
I never thought he would win, but I did like a lot of what he said and the way he said it. I don't like him as a person. I don't like a lot of things. Trump was the alternative to Hillary Clinton, and that was the best part about him. It was great that he could rally together a lot of shitlords and whatever the fuck else to raise awareness and interest in his campaign. But I also don't feel like he's going to achieve much. Just like Obama didn't achieve anything, just like the guy before him didn't achieve anything, and just like the guy before him didn't achieve anything, outside of making life better for themselves at the end of the day. I've never played them together with anyone else, so I don't know which Far Cry games had co-op. I just know this one only has co-op, so it's me and one other person. I was kind of hoping there would be like 3 or 4 people, but then that game would be way too intense. And, I have a feeling it'll be too easy. Enemies can only focus on so many targets at once, and the hardest part about that game was the mortars. Imagine 3 or 4 people flying around on helicopters, just blowing shit up. So yeah, that's why it's co-op. So you and a friend can fly helicopters and just beat the game in a couple of minutes. So that's my whole thing on Trump. He's not a real politician. I talk about the good things he does. I talk about the interesting things that he tries to achieve, like his like this whole pedophile thing. Ever since he came into power, a lot of pedophiles have been getting arrested. And I've been seeing a lot more of it in Canada as well. So I'm happy that's a thing. Okay. I'm gonna go take a break, grab some food, put some more food out, maybe do some grocery shopping. But I guess I'll be back later to do this again. I still haven't finished the stupid game. Quick save. Alright guys, take care. And talk to you soon.